Welcome to Reparenting Daily, your free daily guide for inner child healing and repairing the relationship with yourself. This podcast helps you establish a consistent reparenting routine and is divided into 3 sections. The first is the daily reading, the second is a discussion of the reading, followed by suggested journal prompts, and the last section is peaceful binaural beats meditation for closing. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening from whenever and wherever you're joining us. I'm so glad that you could join us on this journey of self-expansion. If this is your first time here, welcome. As a celebration of passing episode 700, I've opened a free membership tier for the Patreon community so you can access additional resources and join the weekly Zoom calls for free. I know there's a lot going on in the world right now and that so many people are really struggling. My hope here is to still encourage others to continue the work on reparenting and to offer a free community where people can come together and do that. I'd also like to thank all of you who've been along on the journey so far. Just as a reminder, this is a free podcast, but you can support the project by purchasing the Reparenting Daily Journal, where you can follow us along all year. This 333-page journal gives you extra insight and resources for each week, and also provides space for you to keep your notes. Another way to support the podcast is to purchase the Fairy Tales for Reparenting series, volumes 1 through 3. This collection organizes famous and obscure fairy tales from around the world into the 3 phases of the hero's journey. While you might think that fairy tales are for kids, I'd like to challenge you. These stories contain profound truths and lessons carried down over millennia that we can use in our reparenting journey. It's a fun way to reconnect with your inner child. Each volume comprises 10 fairy tales. They include an analysis section to help you dive deeper into the message, as well as journal prompts and space to reflect on the story's meaning in your life. Lastly, you can also support the project by taking a paid Patreon subscription, by purchasing the books on the website, or by donating via Buy Me a Coffee. You can find all this information on the Support Us section of the website. So now, with these announcements out of the way, let's dive into today's practice. Today's reading is the last section of the article that we've been reading for this whole week, The Psychology of Routine. Just as a reminder, we're in April and the theme is developing structure and discipline. We're in week 1, and the theme is the importance of structure. Continuing with the last section, Rethinking Routines, Freedom, Agency, and Psychological Maturity. If routine is typically portrayed as lifeless, restrictive, or uninspired, then it's time to reconsider the assumption behind those adjustments. At its core, routine is not an escape from life, but a form of intelligent engagement. The ability to design and maintain rhythm is not evidence of emotional stagnation. It's often a marker of psychological maturity. It reflects self-knowledge, foresight, and an ingrained sense of personal agency. To live in a routine is not to surrender to spontaneity. It is to understand that freedom without structure is not sustainable. A person who lives without rhythm is constantly reacting, constantly shifting, constantly reassembling the conditions of their day. That flexibility may appear dynamic, but often leads to fatigue, scattered focus, and emotional depletion. What is described as freedom can, in practice, become a form of quiet instability. True freedom requires a stable platform. When a person knows what their day looks like, how their environment is organized, and what their basic rhythms will be, they are more capable of responding to life with clarity. The mind does not need to scan constantly for threat or recalibrate every task. It can reset. It can think. It can feel. In this way, routines create preconditions for spontaneity that is grounded, not compulsive. Psychological maturity is not measured by how often a person deviates from the familiar, but whether they can design a life that reflects who they are. Routine is a form of that design. It's deliberate architecture of behavior that allows for deep alignment between values, actions, and inner state. When a person chooses their routines consciously, their routines become structure of integrity. There is also a deeper emotional wisdom embedded in routine. Many of the most meaningful aspects of life, love, friendship, health, learning, creative work, do not flourish under novelty alone. They require repetition, patience, and long-term attention. These are not the values of chaos. They are the values of rhythm. They are supported not by impulse, but by structure. But when routine teaches something about the texture of meaning itself, in a culture saturated with short-term gratification and overstimulation, routine allows for depth. It slows the pace. It creates opportunities for presence. The repeated act becomes a site of observation. What once felt ordinary reveals layers of experience that are inaccessible through novelty alone. This is not monotony, it's refinement. It's a rejection of routine. The rejection of routine often reflects a fantasy of living without limits, but all lives have limits. Limits of energy, attention, time, and emotional bandwidth. Routine does not impose the limits. It honors them. It creates a life that is built within reality rather than in opposition to it. In doing so, it supports the very capacities that make emotional growth and creative insight possible. To embrace routine is not to shrink from life, but to build a foundation from which to meet it more fully. It is to say that this is what allows me to think well, feel well, and live with continuity. In this light, routine is not a fallback into the unimaginative. It is a framework for those who understand the mind's need for rhythm, the heart's need for reliability, and the spirit's need for structure. Thank you, and that's the reading for today. Welcome back, guys. The last section of this reading reframes routine as something far more powerful than discipline. It's a form of self-leadership. Choosing structure is not about restriction. It's about designing a life that actually works. Without structure, you're constantly reacting, adjusting, burning energy just to keep up. That kind of freedom looks flexible on the surface, but underneath it creates fatigue and inconsistency. Real freedom is quieter. It comes from knowing your rhythms, your limits, and building time around them. There's also a strong connection here between routine and psychological maturity. Being able to create and maintain a structure requires self-awareness, knowing what you need, what you value, and how you function best. It's easy to chase novelty. It's harder and more meaningful to commit to repetition. It shows up consistently, to build something over time. That's where depth comes from. Relationships, health, creativity. All of it grows through rhythm, not randomness. The most important shift is this: routine doesn't limit your life. It stabilizes the life that you can expand. When your foundation is solid, your mind is clear, and your energy is more focused, and your actions are more aligned. You're not wasting time trying to figure out how to function. You're actually functioning. And from that place, you can think better, create more, and engage with life more fully. As we go into the journal prompts, number 1, what would a designed life look like for me? And how could routine support that vision? Number 2, where am I currently mistaking chaos or inconsistency for freedom? And number 3, what are my real limits? Time, energy, and focus. And how can I build routines that work with them instead of against them? That's it for today. As always, thanks for being here. Take care of yourself, and please do be well. Welcome back. Now, this is the third and final section of the daily podcast. This is your silent meditation. Please find a place where you can be comfortable and undisturbed, where you can relax and spend some time with yourself for the next 10 minutes. You can choose to be sitting, standing, lying down, or in whatever position makes you most comfortable today. Just take some time to listen to yourself. Next, be sure that you're taking time to be with your breath and to connect more fully with your body. Don't be disturbed or overwhelmed by your thoughts. Simply allow them to pass. Just observe them. Do not engage with your thoughts. Only be mindful of them passing, as if they are leaves drifting down top of a river. Use this time to connect with yourself. Whatever time of day you are listening to this, namaste.